Okay, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Now, this is a live stream, so there's a specific format. The live stream is I go do a talk for 30 minutes and then I take questions afterwards. If you don't want to stay past the 30 minutes, you can cut it short so you don't have to leave a comment that the video is too long because it's not. 30 minutes for the topic, the rest is Q&A, and that is for you that are interested in the Q&A section. So, before I do that, let me just get the people in here with a little bit of music and then we'll get back to you in a second. Thank you for watching that. Sorry, had the mic off. Thank you for watching that. It gets people in here before the live stream starts. And I'm just an amateur musician. I like playing music. I have another channel, Rob Braxman Jazz. So there's some music on there if you're interested. Uh, yeah. So how you doing, guys? How are you doing? So our topic tonight is going to be kind of an offshoot of the last video, which apparently did not get many views. I guess people didn't like what I did in the last video. So the last video was a bit tongue in cheek, and trying to get people to understand the dangers of privacy in about as simple a way as I can explain it by calling it the 10 signs of a tech normie. And what the response was I guess some of the older folks said, I don't know what a normie is. And then the young people said, well, you're insulting me by calling me a normie. And it's like, I mean, goodness, take it easy, guys. I'm just trying to, put some humor into it. And people didn't like the humor. But the point of it was that as somebody was taking the test, so to speak, the score of their tech normie score, then one person said, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good because I have an iPhone, and iPhones are not like Google. They don't track me." So I kind of got upset with that because the the score specifically says iPhones and Androids. And I got this community of people that are just not paying attention. And sometimes, so here I'm trying to do humor to get people's attention with humor, and I guess that doesn't work either. So I'm not sure what works. I'm just trying to get people's attention here, and yeah. So I guess people don't want to hear what they don't want to hear. So there's not much I can do. So somebody says that I'm insulting them. I'm insulting young people. In fact, most of the people insulted seem to be the older people because they didn't know what a normie was. And if you want to actually find out the basis for the normie score, they're basically my family, my brothers, my sister. That list is 10, 10, 10 for all of them. They're all 10. Their children all have 10. So they're a 10 normie score family. So yeah, so that's the basis for that. So it's actually based on real people, and the concept is that no matter what I say, it gets wiped out by some new ad from iPhone saying iPhone is privacy, and here's some new hardware, and let's go buy that, and let's spend $1,200 on a brand new iPhone because it's so cool and it's safe because iPhone says it's safe. Now, the 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 main reason people think iPhones are safe, aside from the fact that the advertising is focused on it, which is completely false. It's completely false, as I tried to explain in four recent videos, which were well watched. They got like 40,000 to 100,000 views. I mean, they were well watched, and yet I still get this response that you know I'm going to stick to my iPhone rather than my Android. And then the actual answer is it's neither iPhone nor your Google Android. You got to get into something else. That's the only way you're going to be safe, because there is no way you can get safety from a standard device that's part of the surveillance infrastructure. So, yeah, so my phone is a Brax 2. And I got tons of Pixels too that have uh, the Google status. So all of those are perfect. They are perfect phones. They do not have the problems of iPhones and Google Androids. But to tell me that a iPhone is safe is ludicrous. Ludicrous. So why do people believe this iPhone is privacy business? Why? And this is really the point of this broadcast tonight, because it's really hard to break that. What is the point of people believing that iPhone is privacy? Because the reason they believe is because Apple says their sales model or their marketing model is not based on advertising. So they're not trying to sell you, meaning your data, as Google is. So because they're not selling you, then people presume it's safer because, yay, iPhone doesn't sell or Apple doesn't sell my data, therefore it's safe. Now, just a few points just to break this down, because it's really, really disgusting, when you actually hear what's going on, because I just don't want to hear this anymore. It's so frustrating. I have to keep repeating this. The problem, folks, is that the sophistication of the surveillance on an iPhone is actually much more advanced than on Android. Why do you think that is? Why is the iPhone more advanced than Android? And this is the problem that people are just not understanding. People are not understanding. And there's a community of other privacy so-called channels that are giving you fake zucking news, thinking they're so special and they actually understand the problem. And they actually don't. They actually don't. Because the main problem with an iPhone is that it's a creature of the state. So the iPhone is so sophisticated in tracking. Why do you think, what is the economic benefit for Apple to put such sophisticated surveillance on the phone? So this is really the crux of the issue. What is the basis of that? For Apple to do something illicit or problematic for us, it has to be doing something evil. But what is the incentive? This is where people say my logic is false because they don't know what the incentive is. Well, I'm going to tell you the incentive that I've already said in some videos, which unfortunately people are ignoring. And the incentive, folks, is that three-letter agencies pay for the data. I mean, this is the biggest mystery of them all, because of the private-public partnership. So believe it or not, Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, all of these are government contractors. They are government contractors. They get paid for the data. Now, how do I know this? Because Snowden already revealed this. There are many programs back in the day that included Apple, Yahoo, Microsoft. This was back in 2014 when Snowden revealed this. And the programs called Muscular, Prism, and all that were paid for. They were paid for. They're not free. This is not like these companies are offering these services to say, oh, we just want to help the government. We're just so kind. We're going to put surveillance in our phones because this is so, we want to help the government with the surveillance. No, folks. Muscular, Prism. There's so many of these programs with, there's even one called Skynet. There's actually many of these programs. You can read them on Wikipedia. I mean, they're all there, and it actually says in there very clearly that they were paid for this. They were paid for this. Maybe you're not reading the small print. Yes, they were paid for that. So when somebody says, what is the incentive of Apple to spy on you? Well, it's the little precondition that is in every terms of service from Amazon, Siri, Google Assistant, and all that, plus all the Ring cameras and all that. There's always a condition on there, which is except as required by law. So, yeah, but these companies aren't doing this for free. They're doing it for reason. Now, unfortunately for us, we believe in Apple so much because we like gadgets, and unfortunately they're tainted in such a big way that they're actually part of this infrastructure. And the amount of surveillance that is on an iPhone is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. So let's just go through it. So you tell me, if this has no ulterior kind of purpose. Your iPhone. Now, I don't have an iPhone here, but my iPhone is always in a Faraday bag. If you have an iPhone, I keep it in a Faraday bag like this. Okay, and there's a reason for that. This Faraday bag with copper lining. The reason that I want to put a iPhone in a Faraday bag is that your iPhone tracks you even when the phone is off. So now we have the full 24/7 tracking of location built into an iPhone with the statement that it's not even something you can turn off. There is actually no way to turn off the tracking on an iPhone. And they got a bunch of lies that when you really study it, you see that it's actually false. So one of the things that they say is that the iPhone doesn't track you because, we use what is it, elliptic curve encryption and all these BS to make it sound like it's like means anything. Oh yeah, elliptic curve encryption, therefore they're not tracking you. Forget that BS, guys. The phone can track you. What happens on an iPhone, and this is stated or in the on iPhone forms. It is not a mystery. When your iPhone is off, it becomes an AirTag. When your iPhone is on, it's actively searching for AirTags, which then makes it the location tracking device because it finds an AirTag, and in order for the AirTag to be tracked, yeah, there's encryption with the AirTag owner, but nobody's encrypting your phone, your iPhone, sending the information about the location of the AirTag found with some encrypted mumbo jumbo, but you're not encrypted, so it finds your phone, not counting the fact that there's Wi-Fi scanning and all that that never gets turned off, and it cannot be turned off, as in fact stated in Apple documentation. So the fact is, why would you have a phone that cannot be turned off, that tracks continuously, not just yourself, but the environment by tracking AirTags around you, and your phone is like the big spy device doing that. Even an Android doesn't do that, and people are saying, "Oh, Apple doesn't sell my data, so it must be good." So, and then on top of all this, Apple says, "Okay, we're gonna do um, the client-side scanning." So now they can actually examine the content of your phone, track you 24/7, even when the phone is off. My goodness. If somebody wants to find you, you have an iPhone, you are completely zocked, and they can even spy on your surroundings. What is the purpose? The purpose has to be for the state, because I can't think of anything unless you come up with an answer for me. Since I know that the state pays for the information about each and every one of you, which will be in my next video, but the main thing is that if I wanted to track someone, the best device for tracking you, let's say I have a target, like all of those who are anti-vax. I want to find all those people who are anti-vax because they're domestic terrorists. I want to find them. How do I find them? Oh, they have an iPhone. Oh, great. We'll go investigate them. We'll go investigate them. Put them on a domestic terrorist list and go track them. And you're saying, oh, my iPhone is a safe one because it doesn't, sell my personal data. Who cares about your personal data? I mean, this is like worse. This is worse. So this is going to be used to curtail our freedoms in a big way. And it just really bothers me when somebody leaves a comment in my video that says, oh, I'd better use an iPhone. I mean, it's private. They're not selling my data. It's like, yeah, they are selling your data, just not to advertisers. Yes, they are selling your data. They are surveilling you, just not to advertisers. So, go look for the programs, Muscular, Prism, all of that. And they were already doing that willingly. Willingly. Every carrier was part, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, all that. They were part of the PRISM program, which was a big one, which Obama said we weren't. Oh, we're not surveilling U.S. citizens. Yeah, right. Not a big lie. Okay, all presidents lie about this. They'll say, well, we didn't look at you precisely. So yeah, we collect the data, we put it in this database, but until we look at you, then we didn't look. Because we didn't look, then we didn't spy on you. Yeah, they collected everything. So now you have a device that is so precise in identification of your moves that there's just, in my mind, no comparison that for me the iPhone is actually worse than an Android. Yeah, Google tracks me and all that. Yeah, I know that. If you have a standard Google, which I don't, but if you have one, it's bad enough. But what's worse than something that you can't even turn off? The Google phone you can turn off, but an Apple AirTag like iPhone you can't turn off. That's crazy. It's a pretty crazy thing, and we accept this, and it's kind of frustrating. I do this video kind of just laying out some simple rules. The 10 rules that I put in there that identifies a normie, a tech normie, aren't very complicated. It's made to be a warning to people who, in a funny way. I was trying to be funny, but I guess some people didn't like it. Didn't think it was funny. They thought I was attacking them. There was many comments that, most of the comments liked it, but some people say, you're attacking young people. I don't know why I'm attacking young people specifically. Maybe they were offended by being called a normie. So yeah, but normie's a normie. So what is a normie? So somebody who basically, if you're on TikTok, you're a normie. I mean, I, I mean, if you're on Instagram, you're a normie. I mean, Kardashians are normies. Okay, so it's like you have no conception of the world outside of trends. It's like, oh, fashion trends, this that. That's your only uh, viewpoint. That's only your view of the world. Therefore, you are a normie because you make your choices only based on that without actually understanding what it is you're buying. So you buy things for your home. You buy IoT devices, ring cameras, and things that spy on your home. And you said, oh, I don't care because it's fun. It's fun. It's tech. It's fun. And yeah, once the fun aspect of the buying of the IoT device at your house is gone, then the spying continues, and people are like, I don't care. Amazon Echo, I don't care. It's I can uh, I can call up the music I want, even though you may use it, once a week. But you leave the device there and it's spying on you 24/7. You're saying, well, I don't believe it's spying on me. Well, you're talking normie. So, because you don't even realize that even if your guests show up at your house, that they're part of the surveillance infrastructure. And I'm telling you that the surveillance infrastructure is not just about the tech company spying on you and collecting your data to sell you ads, although that is part of it. That is not the main motive anymore. Yeah, they want to make money, but there's another way to make money. There's two ways to make money: sell your data as ads, which is what the Google model is, sell expensive hardware, which is the Apple model, and on top of that, get paid for your information through the intelligence agencies. And of course, they all make money from that. Amazon particularly makes a lot of money from that. They make money from the ring cameras, the ring camera videos, the facial recognition of the ring camera videos, all of that. This is all public information. This is not something I have to make up. We don't know exactly what happens with Apple and Google when it comes to spying on your phone. So we have to make some assumptions about that based on past history. What is the past history? The past history is there are programs like Muscular, Prism, and so on where they were paid to do the surveillance of your data. They were paid. So now let's look back at companies that actually use the information to come up with a uh, influencing effect. Well, I don't know if it's an influencing effect, but let me talk about Palantir, for example. So Palantir takes the data that it derives from social media, meaning whatever it derives for the equivalent of Muscular today, whatever the equivalent is of taking that data and sucking it in and putting into the Utah data center. And then you combine that with government data. This is the problem with Palantir. It not only has the social media data, they also have the what I call statutorily required data, like tax returns. It's tax time, it's almost tax time, and some of you are doing your taxes, and you have to fill out all the information with your identity, your medical forms, and all of that, and you got to put it on there. You can't lie. Your bank account, if you lie, then they put you in jail, or they hunt you down like they hunted McAfee, John McAfee. So there's no escape. You gotta follow the rules, right? Well, imagine those pieces of data in the hands of Palantir. So they have the social media data, your credit data, credit scores, credit card purchases, which is, you know, again, as required by law, they can get that. And then Palantir then combines that with government data, your tax returns, medical information. And on top of that, Palantir used cameras in the vicinity. Here in Los Angeles, they actually have cameras on the streets. There's a lot of cameras on the streets in LA and on the freeway. So when you're on the freeway, they're actually tracking cars with license plate readers. And if you're in many, many corners of the city here, In my vicinity, I pretty much, memorize where every camera is, and I have to circumvent it and go around because I hate being on the camera. I put on a mask inside the car uh, if I don't have a choice. And people say, "Well, why are you putting a mask on?" Oh, because I'm very concerned about COVID. Even inside my own car, by myself, I'm so concerned about COVID. I'm going to wear a mask because I know exactly where those cameras are. Well, the problem is that companies that collect this data, like Palantir, have used this data to do pre-crime, like Minority Report, the movie. So if you read that movie, pre-crime. So here's the problem, guys. They've already gone to the point of doing pre-crime, and in LA, what they've done is they find that the young kids who are potentially going to be gang members, and they harass them on the street. So they stop their car even though they haven't committed any crime, and they harass them. This was in several articles a couple of years ago, when they were actually doing this, and now you wonder why people especially in the poor neighborhoods are so upset with the police, because this is the kind of tactic that they use. I mean, they go way beyond. They go way beyond. I mean, you use the data from a Palantir to say, we're going to go do pre-crime. So now you anger people by saying, well, the popo is going to stop me, but I haven't committed any crime. I haven't done anything. And, so now you wonder why people are angry. Well, this is the kind of thing that's going on. And it's really because of this, what I call private partnership, private-public partnership. And Apple is a big part of big part of this, my friends. So if you're thinking that you can ignore what I say, and because you think they're not selling your data, and you got nothing to hide anyway, so you don't have to fear the government. My next video will tell you how dangerous this thought process is, and it really worries me. And so I hope that you watched the video that I said, which was tongue in cheek, about the 10 signs of a normie, because apparently a lot of you didn't like that. So it's tongue in cheek. It's not. Don't take it don't take it personally. It's not. It's actually a warning sign, and I'm telling you the model for that. The normies are my brothers. Okay, so they're the normies. So I just took everything that they do, which to me signify their normie behavior, and that was the basis for the video. And I said, if people think that way, then they're kind of hopeless. They're kind of hopeless, because you can't even make them think about privacy phones like a Brax phone or the Google phone. You can't even make them think that, because they are so tied to a certain thought process of technology and saying, "Ooh, I'm gonna enjoy buying the latest and greatest," without any thought as to the risk. They have no conception that there could be a risk, because they say, "Well, we're good citizens. We don't need to care." You need to care, to be explained in the next video. So thank you for listening to that rant. It's not a rant, but thank you for listening to that. And let me just end this section by talking about my sponsor, which is Linode. Yes, I know Linode was purchased by Akamai. Nothing changed as far as I can see. They still have the great service that they have, and they seem to have more resources now. They're adding new services, like they're doing database. They're testing a database service, which they never offered before, and the prices are still the same. It's very inexpensive for what they give you, and there are no hidden costs. You get a server for as little as $5 a month. So if you want to set up a server, some of you are asking, how do I have a very safe communications infrastructure? Well, one of the ways, especially if you're a company, the best and simple way to do it is to have your own Jitsi server for video, in your own XMPP server for communications, and there's nothing that can be safer from that. And it's so easy to set that up on Linode because it's actually one of their application center. You can just choose them and run them on Linux. So if you use the code linode.com/Rob Braxman, they give you a $200 credit that you can apply within a 2-month period for whatever you're using on Linode. Now, one other thing that I want to mention, as you already know, and it's in the description there, that DuckDuckGo is very, very censored now. Now, I still use DuckDuckGo. It's still on my phone as a browser. I mean, from the privacy point of view, nothing's changed. I'm happy to use DuckDuckGo versus Chrome. So, no problem there. Okay. However, if you want search results that are not so biased as DuckDuckGo, because it's, it depends on your point of view, but most people want to search for something and see different points of view. DuckDuckGo doesn't have that. It is truly, truly like filters points of view in an almost 100% way into their line of belief. If it doesn't fall into that line of belief, there's nothing comes out. Zero. And I don't get that from other sources. So if you want a better choice, try this out. There's a extension for your browser. This is on a computer. It's startpage.com. There's an extension. There's a link in the description with the extension. Try out the extension. And I've been using it now with the extension. Before you couldn't, you have to go startpage.com and then go search there. And by the time you think about it, you've already done your search on Google or something else. So so the extension now allows you to actually choose startpage.com as your default search engine, which it did not allow before. And you will find, just compare, try it, compare. Trust me, it has better results. It's not perfect. Nothing is, because the search results from startpage.com come from Google. So extreme things are still not going to come out of there. So if Google doesn't want you to see something, you're not going to go see it. But it's not as censored, not nearly as much censored as DuckDuckGo. Google censors you when they know who you are. So if they know your identity, they will change the search results for you. But since startpage.com hides your identity, then nothing, the results come out as neutral. So my video contrast is too high, and Jason Summers is like really upset about it. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Here, I can, lower the light? What else can I do? There, lower the light for you. Okay, so yeah, never Opera. Opera is CCP. Opera is Chinese. So if you want like Chinese government influenced search results and such, go to Opera. As an IT pro, I trust Rob. Well, thank you, American Legend. I don't know what it is. There's a bunch of kids out there that listen to certain talks on privacy, such as I'll give you some of the sources. Like they hang out on Reddit, they hang out on Matrix, and some of them hang out with certain competing. And I say competing because I don't even care. They're, as far as I'm concerned, they're not competing, but they think they're competing channels here on YouTube. And they always say bad things about me because they're so uneducated that they use whatever way that they can put me down in some way. And it's I think, guys, that you can judge for yourself. I think you can see my face and see my demeanor and my expressions and see who's telling the truth and who's not, who's here for you and who's faking it, and who has ulterior motives, or in some cases it's not even an ulterior motive. It's just that they're just uneducated about the world because they're young and they think they know, but they really don't. So, just letting you know that the do not trust everything you hear. One of the worst sources of information on privacy are actually the cybersecurity people, because they actually think cybersecurity is privacy, which is completely untrue. You see, cybersecurity is based on a laboratory testing procedure. So if you want to test something and you want to get paid for finding flaws in software, you test the software, you find the flaw. Once you find the flaw, you report it, you make money from it, and that's your life. Or you work for a corporation and you try to break into a system, you could break in, then you win. If you can't break in, you don't win. So in their minds, and this is like the flawed philosophy of some of these kids, that if they don't know it, it must not exist. So if they can't break into what Apple's doing, because of course it's closed source, closed corporation, they don't know what interaction Apple has, Google has with three-letter agency. Therefore, it must not exist because they don't know what actually happens at iPhone, and they can't prove it because of all the lies that are said. They take the Apple's word for it, and in their mind, then I'm the one speaking lies, even though they already saw that Snowden revealed things that nobody knew. So I don't base things on what nobody that somebody has already discovered. I'm going to use my tech knowledge and technology knowledge to say, well, what's the risk? What is the motive? What is? It's kind of like criminal. No, it's like an intelligence agency. You look for signals. You look for signals, and you look for clues that somebody is doing something. And then if you find a signal that's positive, you latch onto it, which is what I do. Okay, because we're never going to be able to prove it. How are we going to prove it when they're going to hide it? And of course, if they're good at hiding it, then you'll never know. In which case, then you're going to live in this little bubble. You think you're safe with your iPhone, which is what some of these cybersecurity people think. I'm safe with my iPhone. Why? Because I can't prove that Apple does anything bad. Well, fuck you. That's exactly the kind of people that this video is about. Okay? That's exactly what this video is about. Those kinds of people. So yeah, they troll me. It's amusing. They troll, and they have this immature trolls about, oh, you don't really do it. It's like this one kid from probably from Australia is my guess. So he trolls me. So hopefully he watches. He trolls me and says, oh, your PHP is months old. Your systems are not updated. It's like, fuck you. So some of these people, it's like, updating my stuff is not my primary goal. That is not the purpose of my being here. My being here is to communicate to you and tell you stuff. That is my purpose. When I was younger, my purpose was to come up with systems that these guys can't even imagine. I've written systems that are so big that they can't even imagine that. So they're saying, well, you don't know anything. It's like, I've been programming in C for decades and I don't know anything. Okay, and the funny part is, what have, some of these trolls, like, what have you actually done? Have you written, oh, I wrote an app. Yeah, sure, okay. Let's clap for you. You're good. Okay. So, yeah. So, I don't like to talk about my background. I've talked about it in other videos. But suffice it to say that, none of these types of people intimidate me. Oh, I wrote this, whatever. I modified Android, and I'm such a genius now. Because I was able to modify Android and modify the behavior. Okay, did you write Android? So, yeah. Kim says, Rob, get on my level, fool. uh, It's not important, guys. It's like we're not here to make myself pump myself up. That is not important. It's more that you gotta listen to me. Am I? Did I lose the video? Video frozen. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to. You can hear me, right? Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I saw the camera kind of locked up. Camera locked up. Not the internet or anything. The camera locked up, and either the camera or OBS. So, no, nobody's attacking me. It's not none of that. Internet's fine, but the OBS froze the screen. So I just restarted the camera and restarted OBS, and we're back. Okay, so no big deal. Okay, so anyway, what are the questions, guys? So if you're staying here longer than 30 minutes, then you shouldn't be here anymore. You can stop watching. I'm talking about the replay people. If you're here on replay and you got past the 30 minutes, you don't have to stay beyond that if you don't have to, because it's not about the topic now. Now it's about me answering people's questions. Now this is really important for me. I need your feedback, and the only way that I get feedback is is for me to hear what you're saying. Jason Summers keeps saying that shutter speed. There's no such thing as shutter speed, okay? That doesn't exist. This is a live stream. There's no shutter speed. There's no shutter. So I've already turned down the lighting. I don't know what else you want me to do. Yeah, I haven't changed this. You should have said it like weeks ago, or months ago, because it's the same setting. So it's because the background is very dark, and then it seems like there's a lot of contrast. So yeah, so it's very important for me to hear from you and get feedback about the topics and what you don't understand, because then I get to redirect myself if I'm headed the wrong direction. For example, the last video is not well received at all, and I thought the humor. Some people said they liked it, and yet certain population didn't watch it, and so that's not good. So I need to get a sense of what the community says, and the importance of a live stream is for me to actually hear you say what you want to say. I was going to flash my own Pixel 4 XL. Is installing MicroG difficult? No, MicroG is going to the MicroG site and you download 2 files, and then you install it, and you enable only 2 things, which is GSM. Is it GSM? GM? What is it? Is it GSM or GMS? I forget now. I think it's GSM, the messaging, Google messaging, which allows for notifications. And then the other one is device registration, which is also part of notifications. Those are the only things you need for MicroG. But if you install MicroG after you install the apps are not going to detect the existence of a fake Google, so they are not going to activate notifications. So you install MicroG first. So Brax OS, yeah, Brax OS. So we are sending out the first OTA update of Brax OS. Brax OS is a much more robust operating system than you guys think. I mean, there's a lot of things put in here that have a lot of limitations, which some people didn't like, because, for example, NFC is disabled on here. Certain sensors are not on here. For example, I am not able to do Wi-Fi triangulation on the phone. It only uses GPS. So if the GPS is if you're indoors, it has difficulty getting the GPS to work because there's no Wi-Fi triangulation. Not all the sensors are available here intentionally they're actually blocked at the OS level. There are things that the OS does to, trap communication. For example, if you have a Google phone, a standard Google phone, every time you turn it on, it actually connects to Google, and pings Google, so it kind of registers the phone, and we block that. It goes to an alternate server. Things like SUPL, which is the assisted GPS, which goes to Google. That's not on here. There are many things that are restricted here that really just as the more you use it, the more you realize, wow, there's a lot of restrictions on this phone that prevent casual things from being used to spy on you, as far as the sensors go and so on. So it's the more you use it, the more you realize that there's more things on here than you thought. The bootloader is locked. Although you can unlock it, there's really no image you can install on it, because you cannot install a standard Android version on this. So and it has OTA updates, like I said, and we are updating that currently. So I've sold a lot of this phone. It's like pretty amazing how many of you have bought this, and very thankful to you that you are supporting this project. And I'm low on stock again. I thought some of you bought and got it within a week, and now we're back to a longer delay because I can't get stock. So the news that I want to tell you is that in a couple of weeks, when I get the next stock, hopefully in a couple of weeks, you can get this on Amazon. So a couple of weeks from now, you will be able to find this on Amazon. So if your friends want to buy one, it's going to be easy. You go to Amazon and you buy it, and you can buy with Prime. So a couple of weeks, we're going to stock this on Amazon. So it's, we're shipping it to Amazon right now. So so wait a couple of weeks, and then it's going to be easier to buy. Because some of you are saying, well, I don't want to go to the Braxme site to buy it and all that. Yeah. So you can buy it from Amazon, and I will actually be fulfilling it through Amazon. So even if you buy it from me, from my store, I will be doing the fulfillment through Amazon. So I'm cool with losing certain apps, but I know my core stuff is probably in F-Droid. I don't know. I mean, the main restriction is you can't run anything Google. I'll tell you the main restrictions in a privacy phone. A privacy phone like this, Brax phone, is pretty much Android. It's standard Android. Okay, so what things are problematic? The basic things are that you cannot use anything Google, and I mean anything. So one of the things that bothers some people is they can't talk to the phone and say, do your search like Siri on the phone. You can't do that because that module is on Google's server, so that cannot be loaded on here. That is not part of Android open source. It is not included in the phone. So these phones, thankfully, do not have voice commands, voice transcription. There's a voice recorder. If you're handicapped, you can actually do voice commands locally, but it doesn't use Google speech to text. Okay, it doesn't have that. So that's one limitation. It doesn't have anything that requires payments because there's no Google, there's no Google Play Store, there's no way to do accounting. So you can't do things like Uber, Lyft on here because there's no way to pay through Google, pay through the app because there's no Google to pay through. So if you're going to think you're going to use Google Pay, no, that's not going to work. So you got to make that sacrifice. No Google Zucking Pay, which is excellent. You shouldn't use it. So the keyboard is the standard keyboard with Android open source. So it's whatever the open source keyboard is. That's the only thing on it. Now, what else can't you do aside from payment and Google? Well, um, payment is usually the big one. The some apps require more Google services than the phone can provide, especially apps that are dependent on Google Maps. Waze, surprisingly, is not dependent on Google Maps. Waze actually works, even though it's owned by Google. It actually works on the phone. No other Google thing will function on here. You can't use Gmail. You can't use any of that. Now, for so you think there's a big limitation? There really isn't, because you can use the browser. So you can still use Uber with the browser. You can use Lyft. You can use, Postmates and all that. Things that require payment, you can still use the browser. So it's not like a dead end. Yeah, I know you don't like clicking on a website, but come on. You got to make some decisions in your life as far as, what's important. And do you want to let the system win? Let them win. If you want to let them win, say, well, it's not convenient enough. Well, I mean, I can't help you. If you think it's not convenient enough, then you really shouldn't be on this channel, because you're the ones that don't care. You have nothing to hide. Yeah, I got that. I get that. You don't have anything to hide. So, heard that 10 million times. You think you're very special if you don't have anything to hide. Now, none of you here in this live chat are those kinds of people, so none of you are insulted by that. But it really bothers me that people come up with that. So, well, I don't want to change, so there's no reason to change. Well, there is. Well, maybe not. You see, it depends on who's in power. So if you're on the left, and since all the information controlled by big tech is kind of lefty now, it's not necessarily all the time here, because they're doing it for their benefit, not for yours. But many of the principles that or beliefs of tech companies are tending left. So therefore, a person of a left-leaning view will find that everything is great. So there's nothing to hide, because it's you're conformist. The other 50% of the population are the nonconformists, and they're the ones being attacked. They think. So they're the ones who are concerned, and they're the ones flooding this channel right now because they feel it. But that is a wrong attitude. Many of you that I know are on the left should be as concerned, because it's not a short-term issue. Things shift. Okay, if the Republicans take over in Congress in the next election, at the end of this year, then things change again. And then the next presidential election, it changes again. And then whoever is in power can wreak havoc on our privacy, depending on who they don't like. So careful with that. Don't think like that. It's, don't empower anyone to have power over you, whoever side that is, because it doesn't matter what views they have now. In a few years, in 4 years, it could be a different set of people, and you don't want that. You don't want anything like that. And the poor people in countries with the dictatorship, they're kind of stuck. So they put their views out there. They put their views out on the internet, and they have no realization of things like this. This is like the sad part, okay? Because these people have no realization that all of your texts are collected, all of your emails collected, all of your phone conversations are recorded. Not the conversation, but the parties. Who talks to whom and all that. All of your IP address accesses to the internet are recorded, and you don't care. It's like, just limited to that alone. That doesn't bother you? Think in the last 25 years, what have you texted? What have you texted? What have you emailed the last 25 years? Who have you called in the last 25 years? If you're younger, okay, let's think of the last 5 years. Okay, now if you're young, that's even worse. What could you have done with texting and so on in the last when you were young, in your teens or in your early 20s? What could you have done? Did you know that somebody has a copy of that? That doesn't bother you? Okay. If it doesn't bother you, then, you know, stay on TikTok. Life's good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, folks. If that doesn't bother you, then we're good. Now, I hopefully I'm reaching to the others that are bothered by this because it does bother me quite a bit. Uh, even though I particularly have nothing to hide, I have nothing. Nothing. It's funny. People say, "Well, I'm not that interesting." Well, I'm not that interesting either. Uh, you know, the IRS goes and audits me, and uh, they don't find anything to hit me with because I'm pretty honest and I do whatever I'm told as far as that's concerned. I may not like things being done to me by the government, but I follow the law and yeah, so it's I'm not a particular target in that sense. Yet I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned because I know how if you manipulate information, you can actually convince the masses of a certain belief. If you take away certain pieces of data, for example, uh, the media and big tech can collude to make a certain topic amplified so that other topics then disappear. As you can see, privacy as a topic on the internet, on big tech, and social media is like non-existent. I mean, I'm not a big channel. I mean, I can't reach millions and millions of people because, well, I reached, some millions of people, but I don't have that kind of reach like Linus Tech Tips or a Marquez Brownlee or one of those kinds of people. I don't have the kind of reach because my stuff isn't going to get that kind of attention because it's not an important topic. But if I'm a promoter of a topic, let's say like climate change, chances are they will push that because they can control that. And the problem is whether or not if you look at certain issues of the day, uh, the amplification of a topic makes it more important than others. And who makes that judgment? Who amplifies? Who um, who reduces the volume, like privacy? Who decides that? Is it organic? Is it not organic? And that's a problem, guys. It's not organic. And the non organic nature of how information flows is something that technology is able to do. And the average person has no conception, folks. The average person has no conception. So, yes, thank you. My business is good. This phones are selling pretty fast. So my problem is actually not being able to stock enough of this. But people are buying the phone, so I appreciate it. I've sold a lot of them. Thank you very much, and you will be happy about the kind of freedom. You don't understand what it's like to have a phone that doesn't track you. I mean, it's such a big thing. In fact, this is why I got so upset with this guy that said, he wanted to use his iPhone. Because really, if you think about it, 90%, I'm going to say 90% of the tracking is really done on the phone. If 90% of the tracking is done on the phone, tracking who you are, tracking your content and your, storing whatever you say and do and all that, and identifying you, if you just go to a privacy phone like this and get some procedures to protect your privacy by not texting, limiting your email use and all that, I mean, 90% of the surveillance stops. It's so simple. This is why my channel has been focusing on the phones. So this is why my channel focuses on phones because obviously the tracking is all in here. It's not because I'm trying to sell you these, because I don't know of any other solution. When the PinePhone Pro, for example, is ready for commercial use by average people, I am so happy to promote the PinePhone Pro. The PinePhone people, Pine 64, they're just they're great. I love them. They're a great company, and unfortunately, they only make the hardware. They don't make the software. And and I know the people. I talked to the owner uh, of Pine 64, and I'll promote them too. I was promoting uh, Ubuntu Touch. Unfortunately, I ran out of devices. I was selling devices where I pre-installed Ubuntu Touch, and as a alternative to the Google phones. And unfortunately, I couldn't find any more phones that I can put it on because the last phone that I could use it on was a Nexus 5, which is no longer. It's a 3G. It's not VoLTE phone. It's a 3G phone. So that kind of died. So at the moment, I'm stuck, and not stuck in a bad way, but we do have privacy phones. This is one. This is a specific privacy phone based on Brax OS, which is, my OS is Brax OS is here. Uh, and you don't have these Brax OS. There's others. So I don't want to just promote this. I install Pixels with Lineage OS, and you can have. There's other ones that are available as well. That as long as they don't have Google apps, they're actually good. And if you want us to install some of those, we can install them for you. So some people have asked me to custom install other um, OSs, some of the popular ones that are used. And if you want to use those, yes, we can install them on Pixels, and we have. So yeah, it's good. That's all we are offering here. It's for a service. We can install stuff for you. So if you want to specify that instead of using Lineage, you want to, use something else, then we can do that. Okay. So uh, I don't want to do too much volume of that because it's hard because we pre-install Lineage OS and and for most people that is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to use Lineage OS. So um, uh, now I've been using Brax because even I couldn't get a my own phone updated until this got released, and I've been loving it. Uh, I certainly am proud of this phone. It's actually a very nice functional phone, and there's very few problems really that I couldn't get around, and I'm very satisfied with what it's able to do. And I'm for my use. For example, some of you are asking the kind of limitations you have here. Let's see what I have installed here. Obviously, I have Brax Me here, but I have Kindle. I like to read. I'm a very avid reader. I read several books a week. I read at least a couple hours a day, at least, sometimes more. I have Jitsi, K9 Email. I have Netflix. I have Spotify. A bunch of sailing apps. I even have Viber. I don't like using Viber, but I got Viber. I even have Waze on here, which is pre-installed. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of apps that I've had on here that I deleted now, but Netflix is on here, Prime Video. So I mean, usual things. You don't have to go into a cave. I mean, the phone is very functional, and the limitations, like I said, is no payments, no nothing Google. So no Google Docs, no Google Voice, no Google anything Google, except for Waze. Waze does run. Um, just use the phone normally. It'll be fine. Just don't be excessive. Would you install TikTok on here? If I were you, if you're gonna think about TikTok and Instagram, you shouldn't get a phone like this because you're not ready. If you're gonna install Facebook, you're not ready. Okay, so yeah, you're not the target market. So if you're in that mindset that you gotta have Facebook, then you're not ready. Examine yourself and examine your needs, and maybe you're not ready to make that jump. But someday maybe you will be. You don't have to go to a cave, yes. As a trucker, I use apps that work best on Android. Uh, Again, most apps do work. So but the the uh, the danger is Google primarily because of the Google identity issue. So, which will be in another video, because sometimes it's very hard to explain why I push the idea of a privacy phone. And the idea is identity. I don't know if you, I've talked about this in many videos, and some of you think it's too advanced and you're not getting it. But one of the things that the phone does, it does cross-device tracking. So let's say this is a standard Android, let's say, and you go to Google on the phone, and then you go to your computer, the device actually does a cross-device tracking. It then identifies the Chrome session as being tied to the phone, gets the IMEI, and then it's which is the ID of the phone, and then has a 100% verification that it is you. And then everything you do now is tied to this and tied to your credit card and whatever else you have. And that's why there's no escaping sometimes when you do this, because you don't know about the cross-device tracking. So when you have a privacy phone like Brax OS on here, on a Brax 2 phone, there's no cross-device tracking because there's no Google. So immediately that cuts off a way of tracking you in a big way, right there. Such a simple move. Get a privacy phone, pop. Identification gone. IMEI, none of those. They can't get those. Even if you use Google on a browser on here and you made that mistake, worst case scenario is they get your IP address. That's it. They can't get the IMEI. So it's nothing. It's not a permanent. It's not a permanent privacy loss. It's a privacy loss if you did not have a VPN on and they were doing that, and you were at home. But clear the cookies and start again, and it'll clear out over time. So if you understand that if 90% of the tracking, this is what the government is doing, and with this private public partnership, it's the government is tying us to these devices, and isn't Biden releasing more Obama 2.0 phones, giving it to somebody? Obama 2.0 phones. Yeah, give phones, and the people who receive the phones don't realize that that's for them to track you. So yeah, it's like yeah. Um, so 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 when if you are like if you watch this channel and you appreciate the fact that the phone is used to track you, and you take the precautions, the simple precautions like having a privacy phone. I mean, my goodness, the relief. I don't know, guys, if you have one of these phones, a privacy phone, just the relief of knowing that I don't have to put this in the sucking, like I have to do an iPhone put into a Faraday bag because it's spying on me constantly. This doesn't spy on me. I don't even have to think about it. It doesn't have any of that. I mean, that's so refreshing. I don't know. Don't you find that refreshing? Don't you find that refreshing? So, some of you are like promoting Volta Wireless. Well, then look at the picture of Volta Wireless and look at the picture of this phone. Okay, here, look at it close up. Hopefully it shows up in there. Let me adjust the height here. Okay, now look at the Volta Wireless phone. It's exactly the same one. It's exactly the same phone. Okay, so forget about the Volta Wireless phone. This is the same one. They're not even shipping yet. This is shipping. Okay, so yeah. So, do you sell a Brax Faraday bag? Well, I got to go to China to get these. So, I haven't done that, but I found this bottle on Amazon, and I linked it in the description of some videos. And this actually works. So if you look at this Faraday bag, there's a flap. It's copper, It's a copper fabric. So this fabric is copper. Now what happens is, see that fold? So it folds the copper, so then nothing leaks. And I tried it, and I when I turn on the phone, it doesn't have a cell signal. Then I can see it, reactivate the cell signal. I have Pixel 4 running, but will probably move to Brax 2. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fine too. Magic Rat. I mean, you're uh, depending on the device. That's fine. That's de-googled, and you should be happy. So we don't need to be critical of other systems. Like some are critical of me uh, because they're dumb. But I'm not. If you want to use other operating systems that are free of Google and they're based on Android open source, many of them are just fine. It doesn't have to be from me. Mine is pretty good. So, and it's for this phone specifically. Okay, so mine is for this phone. You can't really put anything else. So it's not like you can say, can you load such and such an operating system? It's not going to work. It's really made for this phone. Because there are many things that are specific to the phone. But if you're going to use a Pixel, Pixels can take many alternate operating systems, and if they're not Googled, they are all fine to me. They're all good. So I would be pleased to have you use anything that doesn't have any Google. The Google Android of any sort is fine with me. I would say you guys are in the right direction. I don't have to voice any particular operating system on you guys. I tend to use Lineage OS, and the reason that Lineage OS is better for the average population is because it's not as restrictive. Some of the other operating systems have more restrictions, and it's made for a more hardcore cybersecurity minded kind of group, which is probably not the average person. And it's not really that much of a big deal because for privacy reasons, Lineage OS, de-Google is just fine. Can you do a Brax build without SE Linux? No. No. SE Linux is built into Android, so open source. So if you don't want SE Linux, you're saying don't use Android. Well, that's a lot of work. No one's going to be able to do that. I'm not even sure why you want that. If you don't want SE Linux, then you're going to have to use a Linux device like a PinePhone Pro. But that's actually a disadvantage. SE Linux is important. It's very important. Is CR Droid good? I don't know what that is. CR Card Droid? I don't know what that is. Payment plan for Brax phone. Well, just save up yourself. Is the Pine 64 a good phone? Pine 64 is not a phone. The Pine Phone Pro is the next iteration of a Pine phone. I have a Pine phone, and it's really a developer's kit. So if you're not a Linux developer, no. But hopefully it'll get there. I like I said, I'm a big supporter of the Pine 64 people, and I'm happy to support them. I don't sell their products, obviously. I don't make money from doing that. But it helps the cause. It's good for privacy, and it's open source, and yeah. So Brax SIM cards. I may be able to offer Brax SIM cards. So it's been brought up. I've talked to supplier about it. So yeah, it's something that I may be able to offer at some point here. So I'm still thinking about that if it's worth it. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously if I can sell a product, it helps this channel. I just want to say something because some of you may not realize it, but uh, it is true that for the size of my channel, I'm probably one of the more successful YouTubers. Uh, because similar sized channels probably aren't making, uh, well, to be frank, they're not making the revenue that I'm making because I have a company and I'm able to offer a service for the average person that can't do things for themselves. And you don't have to use my services, you can certainly use other things, but I'm happy to be able to offer it. And so, because of that, I don't need outside advertising, which means I don't have to be influenced by other companies that want to push whatever they want to push because I don't have to do that. So yes, I'm obviously more successful than the average YouTuber because I don't make money from YouTube really. I mean, the YouTube money is peanuts. It's like it's not even worth talking about. So yeah, so this channel survives from the products. So some of you are complaining, well, he's just trying to sell whatever product. I don't really care what you say. If you're one of those people questioning that, you don't have to buy my. There's always alternatives to my products. I'm explaining a concept. What kind of phones are safe? What are privacy phones? The Google Android AOSP. That's the main gist. That is perfect. VPNs. That's perfect. Do you have to use my VPN? I would like you to use my VPN. I'd like you to use my phone. But if you don't like my products, it doesn't. You can do so. Nobody forces you to do anything. But if you support this channel, then you support what I do and allows me to continue doing this because it's pretty hard. I mean, this is not an easy thing to do. So, just some of you know, just to answer questions about what is my phone arriving, and it's like if you know how many phones I've sold, um, half the day is spent answering is my phone just passing tracking numbers. You know, I mean, our staff we're like overloaded here with questions like that, and some of you think there's only a couple of you buying. So it is hard work. So and if there's a problem and we have to help you, some of you expect instant results, and it's kind of hard because sometimes we have to sleep. So anyway, it's thank you for supporting us, supporting the company, my company, not just the channel but the company, and uh, it's we're providing the services and we're happy to provide it. VPN services and email services and phones. And I'm happy to announce that I finally got a shipment of Brax routers, meaning Raspberry Pis. I got my first shipment of Raspberry Pis today, so we can put Raspberry Pis back in the store for Brax router today. I only have 25 units, so that's just gonna go in nothing. But if you want a Raspberry Pi, then finally we're gonna have 25 units, which is depressing. It's like a whole big chunk of my business collapsed because we can't get Raspberry Pis. So I got my first batch of Raspberry Pis, which I ordered. Just so you know, I ordered this batch in October. It is now April. Okay, ordered in October. So I don't even know if let's say I ordered 100, will they be able to ship me 100, or they'll say 6 months from now? I don't know. So you have your Brax2 phone, Cosmic Rose. Excellent. Hello, Jenny. How are you doing? So I'm like I said, it's not it's this is a good phone. It's really it's a non-tracking phone that's brand new, under warranty. Because we haven't been able to do that. We sell you a Pixel, and sometimes because they're older, sometimes the batteries go. It's not 100%. And with a Brax phone under warranty, it's like it's refreshing because you know you have a new phone. It's nothing, you know, you don't have to worry about batteries and things like that. So that's I'm happy to be able to provide that. So does fake 5G use the same frequency as 4G? No. Fake 5G uses some of the allocated frequencies that they took from 3G. So 3G is now being allocated for the fake 5G, which is carrier aggregation. So, can you download games? Yes, yes. Uh, yeah, I, yeah, I've seen people play games on this. Yeah, games are fine, as long as there's no payment. If the game requires payment, it's not gonna work. So 7.99 I spent. I know. I can. I ordered my own Raspberry Pi to Switzerland 2 months ago, and can just about order your software. Yeah, that's great that you were able to find a Raspberry Pi. They were charging like triple for Raspberry Pis. So a $50 Raspberry Pi, $60 Raspberry Pi, they were charging close to $200. So because they didn't have any stock. So yeah, so I'm not sure that it's worth that. Thank you, Jenny. I'm not doing so well. I mean, I don't have channel growth because I think I'm being semi-censored here now. Or either that, I just need to improve and do something that you guys like. So maybe I'm not doing what you guys like. So you tell me when 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 I need to redirect myself. Because I'm just me. I'm just doing what I do, and I'm not perfect. I do imperfect things, and you kind of average it out, and hopefully I do the right things over a longer period of time. You missed a $5 super chat. I'm sure I did. Let me see who the super chat is. Wow, that's a long time ago. I don't even see it here. And thank you for the super chat. Sorry that I missed that. Must have been not looking at the screen when it happened. Uh, how far? Wow. I'm like scrolling all the way here and I still don't see it. Where is that super chat? Was that hours ago? Jeez, I screwed up. Sorry about that. Go ahead and say super chat and then the message. I'm so sorry. I missed that. How to protect privacy on iPhone? Well, that's the problem. I don't know what I can do on an iPhone. Nothing really. So can you avoid Amazon? What? Can you avoid Amazon? Um, I'm going to fulfill the product from Amazon, but you don't have to buy it from Amazon. You can buy it from me. I will ship it from Amazon because I'm going to have them hold the stock. Kicked off YouTube for telling truth. I don't use Amazon. You don't have to use Amazon. I'm just shipping from Amazon, but the phones will be available on Amazon, so the average person can buy one. Okay, so the Brax 2 privacy phone, will be on Amazon in 2 weeks, approximately. Okay, so if you do not want to buy from Amazon, you can buy from my store. Same thing, and the shipment will be fulfilled by Amazon, even if you don't have an Amazon account. Meaning, I ship it to you from the stock there, which doesn't mean anything. So no disc. Okay, hold on. Just making sure the comments I'm responding to make sense. What about eBay? Uh, I don't need multiple places to put phones in. I don't have enough stock for that. So Amazon is the U.S. Amazon is the best way to reach the most number of people in the USA. For shipping to other countries, it's going to come directly from me. Any alternatives to WhatsApp? Yes. Do not use WhatsApp. I mean, for goodness sake, Signal is. What's the difference between WhatsApp and Signal? Signal works fine. Telegram works fine. I don't like Signal and Telegram because of the phone number. So I like to use XMPP. So can I buy Brax phone in AT&T service? Yes. So Brax phone works, as we found, it works pretty much on all networks, including Verizon, although some Verizon areas may not be covered. So it could be that you're in a Verizon area that requires band 4. The phone does not have band 4, which is an issue only with Verizon. So in most cases, they're using, for example, AT&T relies on band 2, and T-Mobile relies on band 12, and then Verizon relies on several, but it includes band 4. So if you're on Verizon and you use 2 and 13, I believe you're okay. But if you're in Verizon and use band 4, the phone doesn't have band 4. So a lot more networks are actually supported by the Brax phone than I thought. Now, the problem that we have is that the IMEI check, they don't know what the IMEI is because we did not register the IMEI. So we're going to work on that to register the IMEI because they incorrectly identified the phone as a Z10, which it is not a Z10. So the reason for that is that we did not register the IMEI with the agency that is in charge of global IMEIs. So that is something that we're going to work on for future use. If the carrier tells you it's a Z10, you say, no, it's not a Z10. It's called a Brax 2 phone, and it's not a Z10. The IMEI registration is not correct. So, but otherwise they'll tell you, oh, your phone doesn't work. It doesn't have VoLTE. It's a 3G phone. It's like bullshit stuff. That's a different topic. I think I got 3 minutes here. I'm going to tell you something. I think that some of those sales reps for the carriers are actually lying to you. They actually give you wrong APNs, wrong information, and their purpose is to sell you a 5G phone and get their commission. I've been tricked by some of these agents before, like some agent from AT&T tricked me into buying an Apple Watch, which he said, oh, it's going to cost you only $20. Yeah, right, $20 and $15 a month in payments. Lie after lie. And they do that because they get a commission. And so, yeah, they're going to try to sell you a 5G phone, and they're going to lie to do that. They're going to lie. So don't blame me or say, I'm the one that's the problem. They lie because the way that the commission structure is made makes them want to make a few extra bucks by trying to sell you a 5G phone. VoLTE was just commissioned here a month ago. Yeah, and fortunately for you, you still have 3G. So, okay, so yeah, so be aware of the lies. And some of them actually give you a fake APN. They know the APN is wrong. They give it to you and say, here's the APN. And they say, oh, look, your phone isn't working. Your phone isn't working. So, yeah, you got to get a 5G phone. Well, when somebody does that, leave immediately. If they tell you that your Brax 2 phone doesn't work or one of the Google Pixel phones I sell doesn't work, leave. Do not fall for that crap. Leave and come home and go get your SIM card from someplace else because they're lying to you 100%. It is quite compatible with all networks. It is quite compatible. Okay? So they are lying, and the way to lie is to put a wrong APN and say, see, it doesn't work. So you go to BraxMe and you get a list of the APNs and say, what is the APN that I'm supposed to use for T-Mobile? And then you will correct it, and then the phone works. I mean, how easy is it for them to lie and say, your phone's not working? They just fake the APN and say, the APN this, it doesn't work, and they change from the APN values to make sure it doesn't work. I mean, it's a sucking scam. I don't even know if their management knows this. It's a scam. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I'm out of time. So I'll talk to you next week, and watch my next video. Watch my current video on 10. It's very important to know that, because we need to communicate that to others. Please watch the video, 10 Signs of a Tech Normie. Thank you very much. What case does a Brax case use? Brax, it comes with a case. It comes with one. Okay, so thank you for watching.